you doing? Nice.
Oh my gosh, that's it.
Monday.
It's
Ricky's
Monday.
on a new computer.
I got a new computer! I feel like Oprah. You get a computer, and you get a computer.
Oh, wow.
He makes a freaking magical t-shirt, and all of a sudden she's buying laptops. I'm saying,
not really.
We'll have a big mark on the shirt.
Come on, guys, let's buy shirts. I gotta
Mama
laptop. No, not really.
Let's buy.
There is a sale going on with TeePublic next week. So if you guys want shirts, they are on sale next week. I will share that on the podcast.
Is it a freaking magical sale?
There is a freaking magical sale next week.
Oh
my gosh, I love it.
Let's do. Oh wait, go back to the questions folder. Where's the first one we're gonna do? It's this one. Okay, let's go back.
Let's do it.
Hello, Richard. Y'all stay safe down there
in.
I think Richard's in the Carolinas. Go away, Florence.
It's not gonna hit me this time. Hey, you're
asking.
I know. I'm asking for it.
Yeah. All right, let's do this. Here we go.
I already had to put a new roof on from the last one. So.
Okay, so we don't need that for now. Hey, Rhonda in Nova Scotia. You'll be up in that neck of the woods here soon, Ricky.
Yes, I will. I will be in Halifax.
It's in Nova Scotia.
It is.
There you go. Hey, Jessica's a first-time watcher. So by on your best behavior. Look good. I gotta get a tie. Hang on. I'm gonna get a tie. Rest for the occasion. I got my new Mizzou football shirt on today. And I didn't wear my Penguin shirt, but I have it on standby. Hey, Steve Baker, what's going on?
There we go.
Because that thing's going by Virginia. So I'm thinking everybody in the East Coast there. Oh, he's in.
Right.
All right. Oh, Rick's there too, I guess.
I guess so.
Rick, I see. Okay, I get it. Okay.
There you go.
All right. So we gotta. Okay, here we go. Let's do this. Questions 13. Yeah.
Come here.
Ready? Here we go. Who are you calling?
The cat.
Don't call the cat.
No, he's getting ready to do something that I don't want him to do, which is why I'm calling him. So
Ricky, doesn't he understand that we're recording a podcast?
No, get that cat.
No, he doesn't.
Yes,
this is profesh. This is all profesh.
We are totally professional people, let me tell you.
I have this fancy background.
Would I
know.
New game in 2009 versus BG. I'm guessing that's Bowling Green. I went to a lot of football games then. But it would have been at Mizzou. Oh.
Jessica, you can ask questions.
That's right.
You will not answer it, but you can ask all the questions.
Yeah.
We may or may not know the answer, but
you will answer. We'll make something up if we don't know. Okay, let's get professional on the feed.
That's right. Let's get professional. Let's pretend like we know what we're doing.
Is that the question about the Mizzou game? Because that's fun. We're 2-0, by the way, baby. Going to the playoff. No, we're not going
2-0 on question.
Georgia, you're going down in 2 weeks, Georgia.
Oh, are we now? I don't really know or care.
Okay. Oh, he played in that game. Dang, that's sweet. That's awesome. He played against Mizzou. Oh, man. That's so cool. All right, here we go. 1380. Welcome to episode 1380 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the great agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday to you. Thank you for checking in with us here. And this, again, is the show that is driven by you, the listener, as we take the next 30 to 35 minutes and answer your listener questions. Before we get started today, I just want to send a big shout out and let you know that you're in our thoughts and prayers, all the friends that we have over in the Carolinas, Virginia, all the East Coast with Florence coming in. We're recording this one a little bit early, but we know that it doesn't look good as of today, but we hope that maybe that thing takes a turn and doesn't dump so much rain. You don't have all the high winds, but just know we're here for you, and we're thinking and praying for all of our friends over on the East Coast. We hope that all turns out fine for you guys. All right, so let's get to the questions. Let's have some fun Disney talk. Maybe it's a good distraction for everybody as they are preparing for the big storm. Joining me today from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, TouringPlans.com, and the Mouse for Less on a new laptop, we have Ricky. What's going on, Ricky?
That's right. When you buy a new laptop, you got to figure out how to get everything from your old laptop onto the new laptop. So that's been fun. But I'm excited to have a new one that hopefully doesn't have the refrigerator affected anymore. So
That's kind of a legacy
that's an
thing.
old joke from a very old time of the podcast for those who are kind of new. So yes.
That's right. Back in the old days, when the generator or whatever in the refrigerator
So
came into
when
it,
the air conditioning kicked on, the internet or the kind of sputtered a little bit, and yeah, it was fun.
Ricky was
flickered
living in
around.
pioneer days.
I was, man, to tell you, it was a little rough. I'm just saying. So I now have a house that the lights don't flicker when the air conditioning comes on, and also doesn't knock out my internet. So that's good too.
It's awesome.
All right. Also joining us, she is a world traveler. Back, she's in the same place for 2 weeks. We can't believe it because she'll be going again here shortly. We have Pam Forster, co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Wednesday, Pam. What's going on?
Happy Wednesday. First of all, I wanted to give a shout out to Ricky because she got me these awesome ears. First of all, there's lovely Magic for Less Travel. Sorry if you're listening to the podcast. And
That's right.
She had these lovely Magic for Less Travel ears made and these lovely Be Our Guest podcast ears made. So awesome. Our agent Holly actually makes ears and she's awesome at it. Just want to say very comfy. So love that. So glad to be back. We're back. This is the second week in a row. We're back. All three of us are back.
Right.
So that's kind of nice, right?
Yes.
We answered some good questions last week. Like last week, like there's some shows where I'm kind of like, last week I was kind of proud of that show. Just
let's just say they asked the good questions that maybe we had a chance at. So, sometimes we're in our wheelhouse, sometimes.
Absolutely. No, it was good. And we're already getting some good questions here. So
that's right. We are.
Right. All right. Well, let's start off with one from the inbox because I love this one. It's from Tanya Brewer. She says, "Good afternoon, Mike, Pam, and Ricky." The title of this one was "Because of You, They Stole My Heart." So I was like, okay, what's this all about?
Is this romantic?
Well, no,
but
it's kind of romantic actually in a different way. So here we go. It says, "Here we sit on the last day of our visit to Florida. When I left home, I was really not excited about this trip. Tropical Storm Gordon was due to pour rain on our heads. I also failed to pay attention to the Disney event calendar, and Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party would take place on Monday and not Tuesday, causing us to miss the event. But there was food and wine and Give Kids the World to look forward to, so off we came, hoping for the best. I could talk all day about this trip from riding Slinky Dog to the food, but let me just say thank you for sharing Give Kids the World with me. Disney is not my husband's thing, but totally mine. He comes along to keep me safe, and that means going to Give Kids the World just because I was. We had 2 3-hour shifts on consecutive days, and we loved it. Attached is a picture with just volunteers of something you would never see at the World. Moments like this made our experience so special. I believe it was the best part of our 6 days. Thanks again. God bless, Tanya." And the picture is of Belle and Mickey Mouse kind of interacting with the folks over at Give Kids the World, and it's amazing. It's one of those things that we get to talk about Disney all the time, and it's why we do the show, because we're Disney fans. We're passionate about it. We've made great memories there. We've made the best friends in the world because of this podcast. Mm-hmm. But when it comes down to it, we're very fortunate to get to support Give Kids the World. And I think one of the kind of secondary benefits of the 12-hour live show and all the great guests we bring in and the humongous amount of donations we get every summer because of your generosity is that so many of our listeners take a chance and maybe take like they did, 6 hours, 3 hours out of their trips and go over to Give Kids the World. And every person that's done this, we get the same kind of feedback. It's life-changing. It becomes the best part of the trip. So Ricky, I know you're glad to see an email like this because you put a lot of work into the 12-hour live show, but I'm just glad they took a chance, and hearing this, it's awesome.
I know, that's so fantastic that they had such a great experience at Give Kids the World. We talk about it all the time when we do the 12-hour live show about how, is it depressing to go over there and help or, volunteer and see what it's like. And no, it's not. There's something so very special about being over there. So if you have the opportunity on your next Disney vacation when you're down in Orlando, if you can just take 4 hours out of your trip and head over to Kissimmee and go to Give Kids the World and volunteer, I really think you're going to appreciate it so much more. It's a fantastic experience. So please go volunteer because they need all the volunteers that they can get.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the next email here from the inbox. It's titled Hula in a Hurricane. So I thought that was kind of apropos.
Oh, yeah.
But it's actually not. So here's it's from Caitlin. Hey guys, I'm 30 days from my first trip to Hawaii. Mike
Ooh.
did a reservation at Alani for myself and my mom. We are both super excited. We're going the second week of October, and hopefully all the craziness in Hawaii will have calmed down by then. That being said, what are some recommendations on things to do at the resort? We have reservations for lunch and dinner at Makahiki and Ama Ama. We also I love saying all these words. George is probably just cringing.
No, that's right. That's right.
I know, but with my Midwestern accent.
No, it's perfectly right. You said it exactly right. You're good. I've been there. I know.
I've listened to many webcasts from Disney on these. We're also scheduled to attend the luau one night while we're there. We both work insanely crazy jobs and are looking forward to a good, relaxing vacation. I've looked into the spa and it seems amazing. What are some other things we can do while we're there to maximize relaxation, or maybe something thrill-seeking once we're adjusted? This is our longest trip away from home. They're from Nashville, Tennessee, and I know jet lag is going to hit us hard. Any advice you would have would be amazing. Thanks, you guys, for all you do. I've been a faithful listener to the show for a few years now, and your episodes every week help me make it through long hours at my desk. Thanks again for all you do. Kate's 248 miles from Ricky, 308 from me, 560 from Pam, but 4,331 from Alani. So they're close though. This is going to be a great trip. So I know both of you are fans of Alani. So let me start off with Pam. Thoughts on Alani, things to do. They want to maximize relaxation, but maybe throw in a little thrill here and there. So what do you think?
So since you're a party that has adults, you can go to the adult pool, which is much less busy than the areas that are available and open to all guests. So make sure that you go ahead and do that. The other thing you may want to do is check out, and you can actually go on the Alani site and see these. There are some excursions that are available, set up right there through Alani that kind of facilitates them. Some of them have transportation included. Some of them don't. Some of them you can make other transportation arrangements. But if you're looking for something a little more thrilling or exciting, you may want to consider that. I mean, it's definitely worth going into Waikiki, if nothing more than to see Pearl Harbor. I mean, I think to be there, if you haven't seen that, make a point to do so. But there's also other great things. You can do sunset cruises. You can do snorkeling. You can do that right there at Alani. And enjoy the resort. I think the thing that we hear so often from our guests is when they get back is that they just didn't realize how much they were going to appreciate and enjoy the resort. They've really expanded the food offerings. It used to be when Alani first opened up, they didn't have enough, and they were finding that so many people were hanging out at the resort that they needed to add a few more. So they've done that. They've also added some more water areas. So just take advantage of that. And as far as jet lag goes, this is my recommendation for everything. Try to get on that time as soon as you can. So if that means staying up late to do that, all the better. Typically I find if I am a little tired and stay up as long as I possibly can, like make myself stay up until I would typically go to sleep at the new time zone. That works the best for me. And I adjust fairly easily. I know that some people struggle with that a little more. We're actually going to be going to Alani in October. I'm going with my parents, and Han's coming with us. So we're really looking forward to that. My parents have been, I think, a couple times to Alani already. They like it that much. And I was just talking to my mom today, and we were planning out a few things that we wanted to do. And she said, well, if we don't do anything but Alani, I'm not going to be sad. So
there you go.
Okay.
Yes.
So anyways, but go and enjoy. You're going to love it. Have a great time. You're doing Ama and the Luau, which are, both great activities there at the resort. And just make time to relax. That's the beauty of it. You can relax and look out at beautiful landscaping. That could be your vacation.
That could be. Yes.
Go and enjoy.
Yes.
Is that tough for a Walt Disney World theme park fan, though? I think it's okay, though. You can chill. Right?
It's definitely okay.
Ricky, thoughts, because you've been there as well, just real quick.
I have. So to kind of address the jet lag issue, you may have some issue. I did. Like Pam said, try to get on the time as best you can, and adjust that way. But you're definitely gonna have an issue because it's about 6 hours off. So it's a big time jump, or at least it's 6 hours from the East Coast. It would be 5 from the Central Time Zone. So I'm not entirely sure what the time zone that would be, but they're in. But yeah, it's still a big jump. So it affected me one night when we were at the hotel, and me and Brian both like were eating dinner and just like passing out in our food. So
it will happen.
Yeah, we're just trying so hard, and we couldn't. So that it will probably affect you, but you'll get used to it. I mean, relatively quickly too. So don't worry that much. But the best thing you can do is try to adjust to the time as best you can. So stay up as late as possible if you can. As far as Aulani is concerned, it is a fantastic resort. You definitely want to take advantage of all the things that it has to offer. They have a snorkel like reef that you can do that has on the resort, so that it kind of reminds me of the old shark reef at Typhoon Lagoon. So it's actually at the resort that you can do. You can kind of snorkel through there. They have the lazy river that you can go around. They have just a ton of stuff there. They have a water slide that scared the bejeebus out of me because it was enclosed, and dark, tight spaces are not my friend. So I did not enjoy that. Yes, I'm not okay with that. And then the thing that I'm going to suggest, Brian, by the way, loved the buffet at Makahiki. So just letting you know that that is a fantastic buffet. They have a ton of options. And the kind of thing that I didn't really think about, they have a lot of Japanese tourists that come over to Aulani. So you'll see a lot of signs in Japanese as well. But a lot of the dishes on the buffet also have kind of a Japanese influence to them. So just keep that in mind. It's kind of a nice way to try some unique options. And then the one thing that I'm going to suggest to you is if you have like a later flight in the evening, the day you leave, they do have a place where you can go. It's this like retreat area. You can only use it one time, but it's a place where you can go and you can just kind of relax before your flight. Or I took a shower because we were flying overnight, so like I wanted to be just ready to go for the next the night and going and putting on pajamas and stuff like that. Like I literally put on pajamas before I left for my flight. So that little spot is a perfect spot to go and just kind of get ready for a flight. And that way you're not like out a room, because you won't have a room that last day. So make sure you take advantage of that.
Your fellow passengers, thank you for that.
They probably preferred that I took the shower because, I'd been out swimming all day and, stuff like that. So like, that's gross. I wanted to not have like salt water all over me.
Sharky, a little sharky in that one.
I'm a little sharky.
Let's hit some big questions here. Jessica, first time viewer here in the live Facebook chat. Would love to have her here. Says, tell me about the possibility of making our own coffee at the room at Pop Century. Do we need to bring anything special? I can't remember. I mean, Pam,
you do. So since they redid the rooms at Pop Century, and we all love the new rooms at Pop Century, the fact that they have 2 queen beds and just extra amenities, which was the coffee maker. And Jessica, so it's an odd coffee maker. It is not a Keurig. It is a Cuisinart, and it uses these little pods, not a Keurig pod, but they're all like a little coffee filter in one. So if you search for Cuisinart pod, you should be able to find them. They're really just picture a coffee filter that's already sealed and is like a little circle. It's just a little circle of coffee, and you just lay it there in the Cuisinart pods place. And that's how you make coffee. Yeah. That's how a bunch of them used to be. And actually many of the moderates still use that one. And most of the resorts that haven't been redone use them as well. So
do they not still have the Joffrey's coffee? Little one hit.
They do. They are Joffrey's. These little pods are Joffrey's. So, but some people like to bring their own coffee, and I totally understand that. Right. But they do. It's actually, back in the olden days of Disney, they used to have Nescafe as their coffee brand, and it was the worst. It was so bad. It was so bad. Nasty. But now the Joffrey's is actually really good, and they'll replenish those for you daily. In fact, usually get 2 in the room. If you need more than that, just call housekeeping. They're happy to bring new ones to you. But if you put any accoutrements in your coffee, be it creamer, or I mean, they have little tiny packs, but it's not typically enough. So you might want to bring some of those from home if you use that.
All right, Ariel's up next. I bought an annual pass online and it's showing up in my Disney Experience account. I've never received anything in the mail. Can I just show up to the parks, or do I need to activate my pass at guest services? Ricky, do you have a stab at this one?
I would assume that you'd have to go to guest services still. So, because we had to go to guest services with Brian's renewal of his annual pass. So, go to guest services first. They'll be able to help you.
Do you not, though, get the card in the mail still? I mean, I would think you would still get something in the mail, because when you buy Magic Your Way tickets, you don't need the plastic cards that come in the mail, because it's
right.
Not the confirmation number into your My Disney Experience account, you're good to go. But you still typically will get the plastic cards. Pam, I know we don't as travel agents sell annual passes, but what's the scoop on that? Do you know?
No, I think that you get to choose when you're purchasing whether you're going to do a will call or you're going to have something mailed to you or whatnot. So you have to sort of think back to how you, what you chose. Did you choose to will call? If so, you just take the confirmation number and you'll be able to link that at guest services. They'll be able to help you to make sure it's all active and stuff like that. If you did choose that you wanted to have tickets mailed to you and it hasn't been yet, then I'd give Disney a call just to make sure about that, to see if you should get, your tickets or whatnot. So
I agree. All right. Stephanie's got a question here in the chat. I have a split stay question. How do you make the most of your transition day? I'll be moving from Art of Animation to the Polynesian for one night only. And I want to make the absolute most of the Poly. It'll be my fiance and my honeymoon, and I have reservations booked that same day at Kona and Ohana. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome. Kona.
Oh, so much food. It's going to be so delicious.
So good. So good. So those are my two suggestions. Boom and bam. Okay. Any advice on how to make the most of that day? Thanks. And hashtag, is this romantic? Absolutely, that's romantic. You're going to have a meet coma together on your honeymoon at the Polynesian.
Yes.
That's awesome. All right, so Ricky, give us some thoughts, because transition day is kind of an interesting day. You just, with the Polynesian, I would just get over there as soon as possible. Start, as soon as you can get over there, just take advantage of it. That's what I would do, and chill.
Absolutely. That was what I was going to say, is get over there as soon as you possibly can. Go hang out by the pool. And go get a Dole Whip for, enjoy Trader Sam's. Just take in the resort. You walk around the grounds a little bit, that kind of thing. There's so much to see while you're there, and you'll definitely be able to fill up that time. I mean, just spending the whole day there, you'll find tons of things to do. You can even rent the water mice that they have if you want to do some activity kind of thing. You can do that. That's always fun. So just the biggest thing, get over there early, I think, is the key.
Do they still have the water mice on the Sammy Duvall?
Yes.
Is gone?
No. So here's the deal. Sammy Duvall's is closed.
Who is Sammy Duvall, by the way? Is he some famous? I don't know that.
He actually is. Hold on, let me pull up my blog on touring plans that I wrote.
I've always wondered.
He did something with water skiing. So let me pull that up real quick. I know it was he set some record with water skiing. But anyway, while I'm looking up what he actually did, so they did parasailing. They did the tubing things that you could do, the jet skis that they had, the water skiing behind the boat, that kind of thing. So those things are all closed. The water mice and the pontoon boats, those you can still do. So you're okay there. And Sammy Duvall, for those who don't know, was one of the greatest water skiers the world has ever seen. He amassed.
Did he do the 12-person pyramid on the water skis?
No, I don't think so. He got an impressive 6 world championships and retired from the pro circuit back in 1998. And then following his retirement, he opened up shop along Bay Lake. So that's what he did with his retirement. He just spent it on.
I bet he made 1,000 times more money with his franchise there at Walt Disney World than he ever made in his water skiing career.
Very true.
I don't know. So anyway, that is who Sammy Duvall.
We go from places that other podcasts don't go. All right, Pam, real quick.
Right.
Polynesian, they got the one night only. It's their honeymoon. They got Kona and they got Ohana. Spend time at the pool. Anything else that you can think of? You stay there many times.
So just make sure that when you go over to the Polynesian, know that you probably won't have your room until later that day. Disney World has gotten much better about giving people rooms as, they open up, but it's a busy resort. That resort sees a high occupancy. So just plan on that. So if you want to take advantage of the pool, make sure you have swimsuits and a carry-on so you can give all the rest of your luggage to Bell Services until you have your room available. And the other thing I think is really cool to do from the Polynesian is take the walk over to the Grand Floridian. There's a really nice path. It goes past where they do the luau. And then you get to experience some of the Grand Floridian too. And hello, if you're not riding that monorail ride around, do the loop on the monorail, you're missing out. But plus the loop with drinks is even better. So I mean, there's a few things there. But yeah, so much to do at the Polynesian. Enjoy it. Enjoy your evening at the Polynesian. It takes like the regular Polynesian theming, which we all love, and kind of ratchets it up a few notches, because it's just the tiki torches, the fact that you can see the fireworks from there. If you've already seen the Magic Kingdom fireworks, I'd be really tempted to watch them again from the beach. I'm just going to say, no crowds. You still get to hear the music. And when you're done, you just walk back to your room. You don't have to fight anyone to get to the monorail or the boat or anything else. So enjoy.
And Jen is commenting on, make sure you go to Trader Sam's. Agreed. Get a mug. It's your honeymoon. Take that home. And then, every anniversary, you could bust that out and have a drink out of it. That'd be kind of fun. Let's see here. Joe Lazo with the comment.
I love that.
He says, Sammy Duvall sounds like someone off Hollywood Squares in the 70s. I agree.
Absolutely.
That's right.
That's right. Yes.
That crazy guy. He ended up hosting, I think, later on in the time. But yeah, he would be in the middle square.
Circle gets the square.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Nice. All right, Caroline. Caroline's got a question. Hi guys, I have a question. This is a good one for Pam. We're planning on 3 hotels at our upcoming stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge.
Sounds about right.
Okay, and we have 3 reservations each day, but with only one quick service option on site. Do you think we should make some breakfast reservations at other hotels, or just make breakfast in our villa? So it sounds like. Well, they're staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge. I don't know where the 3 hotels are coming in. Let's see here. Oh, 3 hotel days. Sorry, 3 hotel days. Now, I thought it was a triple stay.
Oh, yeah, me too. I was
we're not doing that. She's just saying 3 nights at Animal Kingdom Lodge. They're worried about the only one, I guess the Mara being their only option for quick service. What would you do in this situation, Pam, if you're staying in a villa? Would you just grab breakfast in the villa, or would you go down to the Mara? Especially if they're Kidani, I'd probably just eat in the villa.
So, yeah, I will say I'm one that gets tired of the breakfasts at Walt Disney World, because we usually grab something quick servicey, and they're all kind of the same, right? Let's be honest. You got the bounty platter, you got the Mickey waffles, you got the
bounty platter, man.
I'm not criticizing, but I'm just saying on day 5 of your vacation, you're pretty glad if you don't see another bounty platter for the next 3 months. But the good thing about Mara is it does have a few interesting things. It has the Babodi platter. So that's a little twist on the bounty platter. It does still have the bounty platter. It has some breakfast quinoa. And it has, of course, danishes and muffins. But you're right there at your resort. If you have a 1-bedroom or larger, you're going to have a kitchen. So depending on what you eat for breakfast, I think it's just as easy to grab some food there. You can actually go to the store right there at Kidani and grab cereal or bagels or whatever you typically eat for breakfast, even eggs. You could go ahead and do an egg in the morning. Just going to say, it'd be easy. You can make your own bounty platter.
So question for Ricky, is it a party foul to fry up bacon in your villa, because it'll make every villa around you jealous with the smell of bacon on vacation?
Fry up that bacon, baby. Fry up that bacon. You're good. Also, I will say Sanaa also offers some quick breakfasty items that you can go grab as well. So that is an option for you too.
And they're in a 2-bedroom, Caroline says. And let me just say, Here's what we figured out. We stayed in that 2-bedroom at Old Key West a couple summers ago with the gardeners. Make sure that you have the break and bake chocolate chip cookies on.
Oh, yeah.
Because you throw those in, they're in your villa. Oh, my gosh. So good. I mean, there's just something about having hot cookies in your.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh man, that's so good. So just there you go. All right, next one from the inbox. It says our first trip to Disney together. So talk about romance. Here we go again. Hey, Mike, Ricky, and Pam. My boyfriend surprised me by planning a trip to Disney the last weekend of October, and this will be our first time visiting our favorite place on earth together. He hasn't been to Disney World in 10 years, and I'm so excited to see his face when he gets to be in Disney again and see all the new changes while revisiting his old favorites. During our trip, we're going to be able to go to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party on the 28th. Neither of us has been to the party before, and we cannot wait. And it's Disney and Halloween, two of my favorite things. What could be better? There are so many things to do. And while I'm trying to just go and have a good time, I also want to have a game plan because it's Disney World after all. That sounds like your blog. And
it sounds like a familiar thing.
Well, it does. And there's so much to do. My first question regards the Jack and Sally meet and greet. I've heard conflicting information as far as the time they arrive. I know the party guests get to enter the party at 4 and that you should get in line right away because they are so popular. I've heard that they arrive at the party at 5, but then I've heard that they arrive at 6:30. Do you happen to know when they arrive? Depending on when they arrive, I wonder how many times I'm going to say arrive. I wondered if we should grab any of the merchandise we wanted before anything else because I've heard that can go fast. I know that there is, I know that is Halloween weekend and it'll be busy, so I want to try to plan accordingly. She's got 2 more questions. So, Ricky, what's your thoughts on Jack and Sally? When do they just arrive when they want to arrive? Should they get their stuff first? Merchandise? I mean, it's Halloween weekend. It's going to be a nut house.
It is. So I go first thing for Jack and Sally. Seriously, that line will be atrocious. So you definitely want to go stand in line for Jack and Sally first thing. I've heard they come out at 5:45, so that's different than the 2 times you said. So I'm not entirely sure. They come out anytime between 5 and 6:30. Let's just put it that way. But trust me, you're gonna want to get in line ahead of time because that line gets super, super long. So that's where you're gonna
line before they're there. There will already be cast members who will be able to direct you. I'd go in at 4:00 and start asking at guest services, what's up?
When can I get in line? Yeah, go back to where they meet. They meet in Liberty Square. There's a gazebo, which is it's kind of in a weird tucked away place. But I mean, as soon as people start seeing that Jack and Sally are there, the line grows even more than the people, because you've got the people who know that they're there, and then you've got the people who see that they're there.
Right. And then the people who just get in line because they see a line and they're like, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I would get, if the merchandise, unless it's like limited pass holder or merchandise, that kind of thing, I think you'll be okay. I know when I went to the Halloween party.
Then the other person to go get stuff.
Divide and conquer.
Or there's that. Yes, that's true. That's a good point. So,
knock them both
you
out.
should be fine then. You should be fine.
All right, let's get the second part. My second question is, do they release the specialty desserts and food for the party at 4? I really want to try the not so poison apple cupcake they have this year, and I wondered if I should get it immediately because I was not sure if they would run out. I'm not sure which to hit first, whether to get the merchandise and the cupcake first or to do the waiting in line for Jack and Sally, which you just said. So I'm essentially asking you to please plan the first couple of hours of our party experience. All right. So we kind of just did that. So Pam, you should use, Jack and Sally first.
Jack and Sally first, for sure.
Kind of merchandise. And I think the snacks aren't going to run out. They're going to make as many of those as they can sell, right?
I think they're going to make a bunch. I would go earlier in the evening just to be sure. And they do not offer those treats until the party actually
7
starts. Yeah, they do. They wait until then. So you're going to have to wait in there. But, just go earlier in the evening. And it sounds like you're focusing on all the Halloween stuff, which is perfect. You've bought that ticket so that you can enjoy the Halloween stuff. So focus on it. Get all the stuff you want to get. Make sure you catch the parade. And, of course, the Headless Horseman. And the fireworks. So do all those things. And you'll have a great time.
And the Hocus Pocus show.
Hocus Pocus. Yes, all the shows for sure.
Yes.
Do you and boo do.
Be prepared to be singing that for sure.
All right. She says, thank you so much for the help with the questions and for absolutely everything you guys do. Your podcast was introduced to me by Stephanie from Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania. where Matt Adams is from on the Cardinals, who asked you a question back in May for our girls trip we had. We had so much fun going around to all the hotels you guys suggested to visit when we first arrived. Thank you so much for the podcast. I always look forward to your next show and love how much fun you guys have and love all things Disney. You guys are the best. And Kylie is in Fayetteville, North Carolina, 550 migoing from the happiest place on earth. So hunker down, Kylie. We're thinking of you.
Kylie, did you go to Slippery Rock with my daughter? Just going to put that out there. So, and Han had a friend named Stephanie as well. So
really? Well, maybe she go on I got her last name. I'm not gonna say it on the air. I'm not that person. Okay, so let's see. Marilyn's got a question. She is up in Montreal, Canada. She says, "Hello, I need your help. I want to visit.
Accents.
I want to visit. I'm terrible at accents.
Yes, we know.
The same day, Pandora and Toy Story Land.
Oh my goodness!
Tomorrow, she's making her fast passes tomorrow. So this is live here. We need some feedback. We're getting some in the chat, which is awesome. Thanks to Craig and everybody helping her out. So she wants to go to Toy Story Land and Pandora. Is the common thinking, Pam, still Flights of Passage first or Slinky Dog or what?
Absolutely. You have to do Flights of Passage. It's still going to be your longest wait in all of Disney World on a consistent basis. So here would be my strategy. Okay. One day I'm going to be at Toy Story when it opens, having already made my Flight of Passage fast pass for some point later in the day. I'm going to try to do Slinky Dog early. I'm going to do Toy Story Midway Mania, and I'm going to try to do Alien Saucer. I'm so afraid to say that word. Are other people as terrified as I am to say that word in mixed company?
It's like when I abbreviate All-Star Sports sometimes I
know, right?
Like confirmation. I'm like, oops.
It's absolutely true. We got to give that another name. Let's call it the Alien Ride. So anyways, made her for aliens or something. I don't know. Something like that. But so go ahead and try to do all those. If you don't have time to do one, the Alien one is the one, of course, that I would cut even before I would do Midway Mania before that. But I mean, if you stand there and watch it happen, it's a cute ride. I'm not saying it's not a cute ride, and they absolutely need it for all the people who aren't tall enough for Slinky Dog, but it's not a must do in my book. So do that. But yeah, then plan on spending the late afternoon, evening in Pandora, which is perfect because Pandora is so beautiful at night. It really is. Now, not the Toy Story Land is not, right as I'm saying that, I'm thinking to myself, oh man, but Toy Story Land is Toy Story at night. Yeah. I know, right? And then bought back to Toy Story Land just to see it at night. We'll plan a full day of hopping for you.
Oh yeah, we will.
You absolutely want to still get Flights of Passage for that Fast Pass Plus. It's just get that and a few other things at Animal Kingdom, and then head over to I still think you might want to head back to Toy Story Land, but just see what you have time for.
All right, next question is from the chat, and it's for the benefit of the best roommate ever on an AEP, Ben Lappin, and his wonderful wife, Kristen, the great lizards. They keep us in the lime green, guys. So if you're looking good out there on your runs, thank Ben and Kristen. They say, hey, friends, Ben and I will be going on our first Disney cruise next week. Little insider story on the AEP. Ben was standing next to me. We're walking around the Disney Dream. We toured the Dream, right? Is that we were on? I can't remember.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so we toured the Dream. And he's like checking it out, like, oh my gosh, this ship's way bigger than I thought. I was like, come here. I was like, watch these people getting on the ship. It's the most amazing thing ever. So we're up on the we're up like 3 decks higher, looking down on the atrium as these people are being introduced onto the ship. And I turned to Ben, I said, this is going to be like the coolest 4 or 5 days of these people's lives. And they don't know it yet, but right now they're bouncing on the ship. They're like, welcome to the Roman family. And they come hopping in. I'm like, these people don't even know how much fun they're going to have. And boom, they're going on a cruise next week. So I knew that was going to happen. I knew it. Okay, anyway, so they say, what are some of the must-dos? What are some things I need to make sure we don't miss out? Oh, and the kids will not be with us this trip. Well played, Lappins. I would say, here's the thing. I think that initially a lot of people think, if you're kind of like somebody who doesn't drink or, maybe we'll just have an occasional drink with dinner, something like that, that the adult areas aren't going to be your cup of tea. But here's what I say, because I'm kind of in that, I will have some drinks on a cruise with, to be social with friends. It's a lot of fun. But I will say that The adult areas on the ships are so much fun because you get things like game shows, like like a newlywed game type thing, or just fun things like pop culture trivia that has a twist to it. You're just not sitting in your seat and doing trivia. Sometimes you got to get up and act things out. Take advantage of, you don't have the kids, go to the adult area every night and just check on what's going on. And late at night, they have like an extra buffet down in the adult areas too, which is pretty good. I'm all about the food. So there you go. So that's what I'd say. Adult areas, fun game show type things, dancing, comedic acts, variety shows, but also late night buffets as well. Pam, what would you say?
I'm absolutely going with the adult areas, but I'm going to the pool. I'm going to the spa. I'm going to Cove Cafe. I'm going to all those things too, because they're fantastic. Yeah. Andrea has the right idea. The pool area and the rainforest room. If you can get a rainforest pass, absolutely do that. That is so worth it. Head up to the spa on day one, unless you're going to be on the same cruise that I am, and make sure that I get mine first. And then you can No, I'm just kidding. So go ahead and do that. It's so much fun, and absolutely make some time, if you can, to do Palo. Do it for brunch or do it for dinner. You can make reservations when you get on the ship. Don't worry about that. You typically can just go there as soon as you're able to once you board the ship and see if they have some availability. But there's just, there's nothing about a Disney cruise that isn't fun and awesome. So now I wish I was going on this cruise right now, because you're going on the same cruise that Ricky's going on.
Yeah.
Yes! I'm so excited to get to hang out with the two of them. So Kristen and Ben, I hope you are ready for some fun, because us and also Jeanette and her husband, we're all gonna have a blast. So I've been trying to give them tips here, throughout the. So it feels weird for me to be giving them tips here, because I've been giving them tips privately too. So So definitely pack your pirate gear. You're going to want it because you're going to want to experience Pirate Night. And hidden tip, there is a buffet. I know we just keep talking about it.
About 4 minutes.
Yes. You got to be ready for that thing, because they shut it down. I mean, shut it down.
We are not joking. Like, this buffet lasts 4 minutes, and the windows do. I've seen people with their hand underneath the thing, trying to get food, and it comes down in their hand, and seriously, you definitely that. So, but definitely do that. Also, we've got the Halloween on the high seas. So you're going to want to bring your Halloween costume. They're doing trick-or-treating. So I know that I have my costume. Brian just bought, so he's going as Wally. Okay. Here's what he did. He bought we went to the Disney store this weekend, and he bought a Hawaiian shirt that has Wally all over it. So he's going as Wally for
that sounds like Brian. That's perfect.
That's not a costume. That's fine. So anyway, that's what he's doing. So we've got that. You're just gonna have a blast. I agree with Pam on the rainforest thing, but don't let me get mine first, because we are gonna be on the same cruise. So I get it first. I told you about it. And then I know that we've had issues with Palo with this cruise. The brunch has sold out completely. So if you haven't been able to get, I would suggest doing a dinner reservation for sure. And then when you get on the ship, make sure you also hightail it over to Palo, because there should be brunch availability when we get on the ship. So you're definitely going to want to experience both dinner and brunch. I promise you, they're both worth it. So we're going to have so much fun. I can't wait to see you guys on the cruise. Seriously, 9 days from now, and it'll be less than that when this podcast comes out. But
that was rocking out her pirate outfit a couple nights ago on Facebook. I saw she was getting ready. She's ready.
Yeah,
she was.
She's ready.
She was.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you have a great,
and for those who are,
I'm just gonna say, go ahead. I was gonna say let me throw this in. One time, somebody had some costume. I was getting my picture with the person the whole podcast cruise.
He was.
And it wasn't a cast member, it was just a guest.
It was not a cast member. It was just some random dude. It was dressed as Jack Sparrow. So for everybody's saying Castaway Key stuff, and yes, that would be great, except for we are not going to Castaway Key. So we're going to Canada. So there's no Castaway Key in our vacation. So otherwise, I would definitely say
it'll still be okay.
It will be fun. I'm so excited. I get to see a new part of the land, and so do Kristen and Ben. So
Speaking of running, though, last question of the day, calling all princesses from Jennifer and runners. She says, hey, Mike, Pam, and Ricky, love the show. I'm a somewhat experienced Walt Disney World visitor, I think. We try to visit every 1.5 to 2 years. On our next trip, I'm trying something new to me. I'll be participating in my first Run Disney event. During Princess, I am running the Fairy Tale Challenge, which is the 10K in the half. Yay. The whole crew is going. My husband, son, who's 10, daughter, who's 8. We're staying at the beach club. My understanding is that the race courses are the same for Princess and for Marathon Weekend. So it seems the family should have an easy time watching the 10K, but I'm curious about a good spot for them to watch the half. Where are the closest spots for them from the beach club and best transportation because we won't have a car? I don't expect them to hit multiple spots and early risers. They are not. Also, this is my first time running Disney. Any tips you have for newbies would be greatly appreciated. Thanks so much, Jen. Okay, quickly roll on this one. For Princess, it can still be cold, so make sure you bring some warm weather running gear because you're running super early in the morning. It is the same course for Marathon Weekend and Princess. For the 10K, they can obviously watch there at the boardwalk area. That's a good spot to watch as you're going around Crescent Lake. For the half marathon, I suggest, and it's going to take them a little work. It's going to take quite a bit of work, but the best spot to watch the half marathon for that course is at the TTC. It's a great spot. Get under the monorail beam a little bit forward of the TTC itself. That's where we always have kind of a big squad that cheers there, and it's a great spot. It's about mile 3 of the half marathon. And then they may be able to get back to the finish. Probably not. It's kind of a transportation nightmare. You just got to follow the Disney buses. They'll get you where you need to be, but you got to really have a plan the night before. Go down to guest services and ask for a transportation guide or get some advice from them because they will tell you where to be, when to be, and so forth. So you guys have cheered the half marathon many, many times. Anything, Pam, to add to that?
Just absolutely. I think the TTC is a great place for folks who don't want to travel around. Still, really love that location, but we get out of the crowd and get into the parking lot because I think it makes it easier for people to see us. We can see them. It's better. At that point, you can walk over to the Grand Floridian if you'd like to catch the runners there as well. Then, there's a lot to do there, within striking distance. You're within Polynesian, the Grand Floridian, whatnot, and you can catch the monorail at different times. Just absolutely be prepared with layers and something for your hands. Yes. There have been times, now it's not as bad at Princess because usually you're starting to get a little warmer. There's been times in January where I swore I had frostbite. I'm just saying. I know that sounds dramatic, but it has been cold. It has been cold. So lots of layers. You would rather have to take off some clothes and carry them around with you than be as cold as we have been and bring an umbrella and just in case it's raining. Yeah,
that's true.
So, all of those things, but go and enjoy.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for all of the great questions. Shout out to Joanne, who is in Venezia, Italy on an Adventures by Disney checking in. We love you, Joanne. Go back to having fun. Quit watching the show. You're in Italy. Good meal for me. Got to be late at night there too. Anyway, so today's show brought to you by our friends over at virtualmickey.com, home of great iPhone apps like Theme Park News, Disney Edition. Ricky, I'm trying to guess. Are we reading about the 40% discount at Enzo's Hideaway? No, it's not Enzo's Hideaway, is it? No, it's the other one.
It is. Actually, yeah, hold on. I wasn't prepared with that one, but let me pull that up real quick because you threw me for a loop, but I will let me pull that up. It came out. You're an annual pass holder and you're going to be able to get a 40% discount. I believe I saw at Maria and Enzo's Hideaway. It's only at lunch, so just keep that in mind. It's not dinner. If you are looking to try one of those 2 restaurants, now is the time. It's also not available for the brunch. So, but I hear that brunch is fantastic, by the way. I need to head over there for the brunch, which is only on Sundays. And this offer is valid now through December 31st. So head on over.
If you can give a 40% discount to pass holders, your prices may be a little too high.
Valid. I mean, it is pasta, and we all know pasta's really cheap to make. So, yeah, I agree with that statement right there. But
you could just go to Olive Garden if they started selling that pasta pass again here in St. Louis, where you get
no Olive Garden, no
a pasta dish every day for like a year or something.
You couldn't pay me to eat at Olive Garden. No.
Me too. No. That's how I feel.
No, that's not.
I run. I run a lot.
It doesn't matter. It's not the pasta part of it. It's the Olive Garden part of it. I like the pasta part. They just don't serve good pasta at Olive Garden. So
it's not bad. Anyway,
no, it's not good.
Good Disney news, and it's free. It's an iOS app, and of course, you're going to get a shiny new iOS device here very soon, probably.
Yes.
Disney Edition is going to look great on that Apple device. So check them out today over at virtualmickey.com. Thanks again to everybody for supporting the show through our Amazon affiliate link. Anytime you shop on Amazon, please click through beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. It really does help to support the show. And thank you so much to everybody who continues to click through our link there. Go ahead.
Also, we have our TeePublic store, which there is a sale this week. So if you want a shirt, now is the time to do it, because you can get a hashtag freaking magical shirt. So there's also Be Our Guest podcast shirts too, but now is the time to do it. 30% off, I think, is what it is. So if it's not 30% off, I know it's a discount. So that's, but I think it's 30.
So what's the website?
Now is the time. It's TeePublic. And I think it's Be Our Guest Podcast. Go to the Be Our Guest Podcast page and search for the thing that says the store. Also, you can bet I'll be sharing it on the Facebook page and all that stuff too. So if you're looking for it, that's probably the best place to go.
All right. Follow the show on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Be Our Guest Pod and at Be Our Guest Mike, as well as Facebook at facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. And we're going to get out of here. We'll be back again on Friday with a very special show. Pam's going to talk about her adventure.
I'm so excited about this show. I can't even tell you.
It's going to be an amazing show about an Adventures by Disney that's one for the ages. So hope you'll join us again on Friday. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike, wishing you a great Wednesday. Time to head back to work, and we'll see you real soon. All right, let me pull that one little pause.
Wait, so if you want a shirt, now is the Phenomena.
Facebook.
Phenomena.
Yes.
This is the podcast hold music.
Until we start the next show.
Exactly.
Okay, so let me get that screen sharing up again.
I am so excited.
Mike got fancy pants.
Ooh.
Gonna be sharing some
to
photos
be live,
too.
or is this to be live?
Be live.
Oh.
There's the audio right there. See it? And one of the great agents over at the Magic.
Yeah, I hear it.
There it is.
Wednesday to you. Thank you.
Oh,
Isn't that cool looking?
that's awesome. That is cool.
Stop sharing that. Oops.
Hang on. He deleted the entire show. Hey, stop eating paper. No, stop. Get down. Get down.
Right, so share.
Hold on, I have to go make my cat stop eating paper. Get down. He's hungry and he wants food.
Wow. Things are rough at Ricky's house.
He's like, I resort to eating paper. I'm hungry.
I want to see something real quick. Application window. Oh, this will be better. Yeah.
You'll get food in a half hour.
And then for the folks on Facebook, we are sharing some photos from my river cruise. I was looking through them today. I was telling Mike, and it made me sort of relive all that.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
It was an awesome trip.
Well, let me share that way. Let me try this. Chrome tab. Let's just do this.
Cats know it's food time. They're like, Mom, I'm hungry.
I'm hungry, man. Why won't this share now all of a sudden? Share screen one, your entire screen. Share. And it keeps kicking it out.
Paste.
Let me try it again. Hang on, let me go to my inbox. Pam. View. Let me slide this over here. And click here. There it is. And then go to here.
There we go.
Go to here. Okay. All right. So
Got that song stuck
sorry,
in there.
Joanne. We're hurrying. This is new technology.
Hurrying.
I'm not good of a change.
No, he is not.
I'm deep in thought. That's right. Okay, so let's do this. All right. So I can't. Whoop! Now I can't see my recording. Okay, so let's close this. I saved that, right? Yes, I did. So it wouldn't let me do that. Okay. All right. 1381. Let me do this real quick. Choop. There we are. Doop. So you're seeing the recording now.
We are seeing the recording, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
So let me get started, then I'll pop that back in.
Awesome.
All righty, here we go. Wait, what river were you on?
The Danube.
Danube. I need to write that down. All right. And you made goulash.
We did.
Goulash. Okay, here we go. Welcome to episode 1381 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Let's kick off the weekend a little bit early with some fun Disney talk. And today is going to be a very special show. Something that, when you travel with Disney, things are good to probably more on the great side or amazing or outstanding. I don't even know all the superlatives I can give it. But today we're going to talk about an amazing Adventures by Disney trip that Pam just returned from over in Europe. So we're very excited to hear about this very unique Disney experience. So joining me today for this fun Disney talk, we have Ricky from a Disney World Afterall.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less. What's going on, Ricky?
Just in panic mode, getting ready to get packed and everything for my big cruise. And in 1 week from today, I will be drifting away at sea. It's going to be so fantastic. Oh, I can't wait.
Isn't it kind of cool though? Because, I think we take it for granted nowadays that, maybe, 10, 15 years ago, when you went to a Disney trip was a theme park, but nowadays,
Mike, I totally cannot hear you.
You can't hear me?
Uh-oh.
I know.
Can you
I
hear
can't
me?
see it. Yeah, I can see you and I can hear you. Mike's screen's black and I cannot hear him.
Uh-oh.
This screen sharing's causing too many. It's slowing
Do you want
down.
me to go out and come back in?
You can. Hang on, let me stop this.
Yeah, try going out and come back in, Pam. I think that might help. That's bizarre.
Let me try this.
Oops, I already did that one.
I can hear you now.
Okay, so my computer's like crawling because of the. Let me try this. Uh-oh. All right, hang on. Dun, dun. Let me pop this.
Pam's back. Can you see Mike, Pam?
Yeah, I can. And I can hear him too.
Okay, good.
So don't show the photos if that's what's causing the problem.
No, I think I can. I'm trying to show the I think it's having a hard time keeping up with the when I show my.
Yeah, when you show your.
Because it's moving.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Because it's
Yeah.
re-rendering, but I got to see the levels too at the same time. Let's see. Okay, so we got to start over. So here we go.
Yeah, that's fine.
Dun, dun. But if all of a sudden the pictures aren't there, you'll know that it was.
It's fine. All good.
I'm going to try to flip it over to the pictures right away. Welcome to episode 1381 of the Be Our Guest Walt Disney World Trip Planning Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Rallman from BeOurGuestPodcast.com and one of the senior agents over at the Magic for Less Travel. Happy Friday to you. Hopefully you had a great week. Again, we're thinking about our friends over on the East Coast. I hope that things are, you're hanging in there. We're thinking of you. We got our thoughts and prayers sending out to all of our friends in the storm's way. But let's kind of take a little escape from the storm that may be happening. And we're going to talk some fun Disney adventures today. And Pam is just back from an amazing trip over to Europe with Disney. And that's the cool thing is that nowadays you don't have to just travel to a theme park when you're a Disney fan. You get the opportunity to travel the world, which Pam is going to do again here soon. She's going to go to Alani. That's an amazing Disney adventure. You have Ricky traveling to Canada on a Disney cruise. And we're going to talk about Pam heading to Europe with Disney as well. It's amazing because it's not not just theme parks anymore in the last 10 to 15 years. It's amazing how Disney has expanded the universe for Disney fans like us. So joining us today from a DisneyWorldAfterAll.com, touringplans.com, and the Mouse for Less, we have Ricky. Ricky, getting ready to sail to Canada. You ready? You got that? You need a hockey sweater, I think is what you need.
So we did go buy some sweatshirts, but we got new luggage for the cruise. So that's fantastic. And I'm just so excited because, a week from today, I will be in the middle of the ocean and it will be pirate night. And I'm so excited.
Arr.
It's going to be amazing. Arr! I've got my pirate costume. It's already packed. It's ready to go. So I've got my Halloween costume because it's Halloween on the high seas. So that's all good. Now the problem is packing the rest of the stuff that I'm going to need. So, the good thing is that on the ships, they do have laundry facilities. So since it'll be a 7-night cruise, I'm going to need the laundry facilities.
We actually use those every time we sail with Disney Cruise Line because it cuts down on what you need to pack. But I'd imagine this kind of cruise going to Canada, a little bit different packing list than heading down to the Bahamas or the Caribbean.
A little bit, yeah. We are planning on packing like gloves and scarves and stuff like that because, I've been looking at the weather forecast and it's like in the 40s for up kind of where we're going. And I'm like, and we're going to be on the ocean, so it's going to be even colder. So I don't know if the aqua dunk is going to be happening on this cruise or much of the pool. The hot tub will definitely be happening, but the rest of it I can't guarantee.
I can't wait to hear about this. It's such a different experience. But speaking of,
it is.
We're heading to Europe. We're going Adventures by Disney today, which is one of the, I have to admit, I haven't done one yet. And it's something that is it's kind of a dream for me to do this one day. So Pam Forster joining us, co-owner of the Magic for Less Travel back in the States, and then she'll be out on the islands here soon again. You travel in the world. Pam Forster, how you doing today?
This has been a busy year for us. Just a lot of different things came up, different plans. And this one, was sort of fell, into place and it all worked out because who would have thought, I don't know. When you think about all the places you can travel with Disney, Adventures by Disney in particular has made this just even more incredible. You can travel with Disney to places like Japan and South Africa and even on these river cruises. And the river cruises are sort of the latest addition to the Adventures by Disney product. But for those of you who don't know, Adventures by Disney is a division of the travel company that specializes in guided tours. And they really take all the things that Disney is good about, right? Customer service and being prepared and all of that, and take it to a guided tour kind of vacation. And I think they are just so well done and such a unique sort of take on this because the adventure guides, which are Disney guides, sort of guide you through this experience of going to all these different places. And I think that's the kind of thing that you sort of miss when you tour on your own. I've planned a trip to Europe that was not through Adventures by Disney. And it was really months of planning and work. And when you get there, you still don't know, is this going to be a good restaurant to eat at? Or am I going to have fun doing this? Or what's the history behind this, which is the 12th church we've seen in the last 35 minutes? You know what I mean? You don't get that. And the adventure guides really sort of bring that to life. They sort of immerse you in the culture. And I know that that's something that every guided tour company likes to say, that they immerse you in the place that you are. But Disney does it in a way that I think is just not possible. They have really incorporated their rich storytelling abilities and made these trips something that appeals to the whole family. So anyways, I got to go in the Adventures by Disney River Cruise part of this new thing. And it's a new adventure. And I don't know, I'm sure there's lots of people who have thought, like you guys have, that river cruises might not be in your wheelhouse. Because first of all, maybe you think you're not in the right age group, right?
Age group? Yeah, that was what I was going to say. I was like, aren't they usually for old people? Like really, really old, like walking around in walker old? I mean,
Well, I don't know if they're quite for that. I don't know, because it is, it's a lot of activities, actually. I think that maybe Mike and I are reaching that target market sooner than you are, Ricky. We're not quite there, probably. But that's the beauty of it through Adventures by Disney, that you see a lot of families on these river cruises too. And they're actually really active vacations and very much not like an ocean cruise in so many ways. They're just not the same. When you think of an ocean cruise, you think of, hitting a couple ports, maybe scheduling some excursions, you're at sea day and things like that. But when you're on a river cruise, you don't get in that sea day. Your cruise is port intensive, as in just about every day you're going to wake up in a new port and there's going to be things that you want to go see. The other thing about a river cruise is that they're much more inclusive in that your shore excursions are usually included. In the case of the Adventures by Disney, and it's a partnership with Alma Waterways, which is a leader in the river cruise industry. But this partnership, and it means that your gratuities are included, your meals are on the ship there. They rotate through a different kind of menu each night. And that's included. There's usually wine and beer included with meals, things like that. So it's a lot more of an inclusive kind of vacation. And the great thing is you get to travel, at least when you're doing the Adventures by Disney River Cruise, on these great rivers in Europe that take you on such historic locations. So that's another great thing about the river cruising.
So let me ask you this. There's so many questions. I know we only have about 25 to 30 minutes to cover a ton of adventures that you had, but I want to, I think this is one of the biggest questions our audience may have, and I have it as well. Talk to us about the ship and the accommodations, the stateroom. How does dining work? Because I think a lot of, well, not everybody, but a lot of folks are kind of familiar with the ocean liners. You know how you have multiple, you rotate through dining, you have lots of restaurants, clubs, kids clubs, stuff like that. What was the ship like? What was your stateroom like? How does dining work? Activities on board, that kind of stuff.
So the ship is much smaller with the river cruise kind of thing. It just really is. There's not as many people. There's about room for 150 people or so or more on the ship. That's about it right there. So think about that. When you think about the different stateroom categories, there are some inside staterooms. There are some not ocean view, water view sort of staterooms. There are rooms that have a balcony door that opens. You don't really step out onto it. It just becomes sort of part of your room because the door opens the whole way. And then there are rooms that actually have a balcony, but there aren't as many of those. And that's another thing that Disney has worked really hard with Alma in, is that they have some different stateroom accommodations that other river cruising companies don't have. They've made more adjoining staterooms so that families can stay near each other. That's the thing about so many of the staterooms on a river cruise, is that they're really meant for two people. And so if you're traveling with a family that has more than two, then you'll typically want to book a connecting stateroom. The great thing about the staterooms on the Amalea, which was the ship that I was in and is a brand new ship, is that it did have some accommodations that did take more than two people in one stateroom. So that's something that you're going to want to consider, but just sort of get that out of your mind. The staterooms are a little smaller. They're smaller, small-ish, I will say, but very well appointed. When you first walk in, you might be like, I was kind of like, oh my goodness. So how am I going to do all this in here? But everything was great. There's enough closet space. We had room for storage. And it felt great. After a couple of days, we just sort of got a sense of everything, put things where they went, and it was all good like that. So yeah, a little difference in accommodation, but still fine.
So walk us through what it's like to be on the ship. Like what, as far as because you said it's very port intensive. I mean, basically you can reach out and touch all these cities because that's where you're going down a river. I love teaching. I taught 6th grade social studies forever, and civilizations grew up around rivers, and you're at a hotbed of history over there in Europe. And I would imagine the things you're seeing, we have a picture on the screen for those that want to drop by YouTube, youtube.com/BRGuestPodcast, see some of the video, but you're seeing amazing things. But what's it like on the ship? I mean, how's dining work? Is there activities? Are there kind of local guides that come on the ship to prepare you for the next day, like some of the Alaskan cruises do? What's that like?
So there absolutely are guides. First of all, you have your Adventures by Disney guides, and we had a team of 5 that were on with us. And in each locale, they had great local guides who would help us when we got off the ship. But so dining takes place in one main dining room. And everyone pretty much eats at the same time for dinner. Lunch is a little bit more flexible. They had sort of a buffet, and the same thing in the morning. They had a breakfast buffet, and then you could order things a la carte as well. It all takes place in that one room. You just kind of go in and seat yourself. But we enjoyed pretty great food, I'm going to say. I mean, you know, I know that sometimes the food on an ocean cruise, I mean, you can tell it's from an ocean cruise. It's, you know, they're being produced for thousands of people. When you're cooking for 160 people and you get to order off a regular menu and things like that, you know, it was all good. Really just enjoyed that a lot. They had snacks and stuff that were available in this lounge area throughout the day. But the meal situation, I thought the food was really good on this cruise.
So when you're traveling on the boat's going down the river. What's that like? I mean, is it just kind of going with the current? It's real slow. It's real, because I know, like you mentioned, we'll show the video here or the pictures here in a second. Like you pass through some lock and dam systems, and I mean,
yes,
you're like right there. I mean, you could literally reach out and touch. You know, like,
yes, it is. So it's funny. A lot of the traveling occurs at night because you get to a port, you get off the ship, you do all the activities there, and then you get back on the ship and it travels at night. There are some days where actually we got off the ship and we're doing an excursion, and then the ship went on without us and we met it at a different port, just that was closer
that's
to where yeah, it was. There were some days where there was the ship, you know, was in dock. There was a group of folks who got off to do a bike ride and was going to meet the ship at the next port that it was going to go to. But there were a couple times, like during the day, when we got to that day, part of it was experiencing just cruising down the river. And Steve and I sat in our room. We happened to have a room that had a balcony, and we really just hung out there. And it was such a cool experience. I mean, I knew it was going to be cool. I didn't know it was going to be that cool. It was just really, really great to be able to pass by these little fairy tale looking villages as you go down the Danube. And we got to see a lot of some of the folks that were at the beach in these different little towns, I will say.
Wait, did you get to see a lot of folks at the beach, or a lot of the folks that were
a lot of the folks?
I understand. When I got married in Jamaica, I also saw a lot of the folks.
But anyways, it was so cool, really, to look off in the distance and see castles or beautiful little fairy tale buildings. Or we were pulling into one town, and you could hear the clock chiming from that area. It was just really just so cool. I mean, like I said, I knew it was going to be amazing. I just didn't really realize how amazing it was going to be. So
okay. So we don't have, I wish we had way more time for this one, but walk us through some of the adventures, because when you were showing me some of the pictures of the things you got to experience, because again, you're in a place that's just amazingly loaded with history and beauty in the architecture and just how long the things have been there. And you've probably, like, one of the things I would do if I did this cruise or something like this, I'd be immersed for the 6 months prior, probably in the history of the cities you're going to visit, because I think you would appreciate it more. I think that'd be different than any other kind of trip that I go on. I'd want to do a lot of research on, okay, we're going to go here. I want to know what this city's about. Like, how did it come about? You know, what are some of the great things? You know, what's the significance of this cathedral? Stuff like that. But walk us through, because we have some pictures. I know, like, you had some schnitzel at one of the places and some goulash. I mean, a lot of experiences revolve around food a lot of times.
Well, it does. And I think, like, one of the greatest ways to get to know culture is, of course, experience the food. But the great thing about, I think, doing an Adventures by Disney trip is, you're right, Mike, it's good to know some of the history, but that's what the guides do in a way that just really, it does immerse you in the culture. They are, if we're riding a bus to get to where we're going to go, the guides are there talking to us about what we're going to see, why this is significant, what was leading up to this, what was going on in the country about this. And we went to some I mean, some really interesting countries. I mean, we started in Budapest and went to Slovakia, and then we're in Austria, and then we're in Germany. And the picture that's up right now is actually, we went to this huge horse farm in Slovakia, and they prepared what is sort of a traditional meal for us with duck and pork and chicken and all kinds of like bratwurst and
Wiener Schnitzel.
things like that. But yeah, that's part of it. I mean, you do get to experience some great meals that are off the ship as well. And that's a great point, to keep in mind when you're doing that. But the river cruise can be as active or as non-active as you want. There are very active things to do every day. Included in this itinerary were things like we went up to a medieval castle, and we really climbed up a mountain to get there. For folks who didn't want to do that, there was an alternate thing for them to do. So there was always something for there to do. There was a 20-some mile bike ride that was available at one of the ports. There was climbing up this tree path, this high tower. The tree path of Kopfing was there. There was a Halayan salt mine adventures, and part of that was getting to slide down the wooden slides that were the salt mines. I mean, the way they used to get the salt from here to there. We went to Mondsee, which is the place where the Church from the Sound of Music was, and we stayed in this beautiful village and ate a lunch right there on the water. It was beautiful as we looked out there. We went on a Passau walking tour in Germany. We got to see that. We visited palaces. We did beer tasting. We did wine tasting. But I think one of my favorite things that we did was we went to this little apricot farm. And the reason why I love this excursion so much was it felt like such a real experience. We went there, and there was this family-run apricot farm. The woman whose husband, whose this farm had been in his family, took us on the tour, and she took us out to the orchard where they grew apricots. And she spoke with such pride about how her husband was so innovative and got a lot of the apricot farmers in the area together to form sort of a co-op, because I guess an apricot is a very fickle kind of plant or a tree. One year you'll get a bunch of them, and then the next year you won't. So her husband sort of got all these folks together who sort of farmed in the same area, and they created this co-op so that there wouldn't be a year when it was, desperate for some families and not for others. And he started doing wine with his apricots. It wasn't just jelly. And then he started doing liqueur. And she spoke with such pride about this and talked about it. And it was just so incredibly heartwarming. She took us down into the cellar where they made the wine and the liqueur. And she sang us a song that she had just to show her thanks for us. We tried the wine, we tried the liqueur. I know, right?
And you had a little wine, you were probably singing your own song. Like,
it was just,
love Europe.
It was just so heartwarming to have the experience of getting to know her and her family. And how else would you have gotten to do that? That was really about what this region of Austria was about right here, that the apricots are famous. And the wine was famous and all of this. And it was just incredible. There it is where we were there. But it was just incredible to have this opportunity. But there were so many little moments like that, Steve and I, in our true element in the vineyards. But that's the thing I think that Adventures by Disney does that nobody else can do. Right now, our friends Joanne and Jerry are on the Italy Adventures by Disney, which I've had the chance to do as well. And I always share a story when people say to me, is the price tag of Adventures by Disney worth it? And I'm always like, it's such a huge value, first of all, because Disney does it in a way that nobody else can. And you get, there's all these things included. But when I first went to the Sistine Chapel, when I had gone to Europe for the first time, we were herded in there during the middle of the day. We were shoulder to shoulder with people. There are guards yelling, "No pictures!" I mean, it's like that. And it was an incredible and amazing experience. I was always moved by it. And then a few years later, I got to go back with Adventures by Disney. We went after the Vatican was closed. There was a group of less than 40 people in the Sistine Chapel at one time. And there was a man who had a passion for this place that he communicated to us, telling us all these different stories about how the Pope didn't like this person at the time, or Michelangelo didn't like the Pope and he painted him as a donkey. He is the face of a donkey and some of these things. I mean, just things like that. It brings history to life in a way that I never thought possible. And it was just one of those, like, pinch yourself, I can't believe I had these experiences kind of moments. And when I was on this river cruise, I had so many of those moments where I was just wowed and awed and brought to tears at different times about what a meaningful and incredible experience this was. It's hard to put into words. It truly, truly is.
So let me ask you, how many people are on typically one of these, river cruises? Because obviously they're more intimate. And was there kind of a, I'm guessing more of kind of like a camaraderie of the passengers because you're in these ports and doing these experiences kind of together with a smaller group. Was it like that?
You are. So there are different activities that take place each day, and you get to pick the different activities you would like to do. So it was it's nice because you sort of get to, rotate around and meet a bunch of different people. But there's a group of folks that we met, the first day or so, that we all came back and had dinner together. No matter what we were doing during the day, we came and had dinner together every night and we talked about it. So there really are about 150 people on this cruise, and you do get to know everyone. And the great thing about the Adventures by Disney River Cruises, there seem to be a lot of little groups of kids. So you have younger kids, like real young kids, then elementary kids, then maybe, junior high school, and then high school. And that was really cool because there was enough people and enough different kids that everyone sort of found somebody to hang out with. And all the different kids did lots of things together too. They had kids activities. And of course, that's something that Disney does so well. There were always things that, really appeal to kids of all ages. But yeah, you did. And you did get to know a bunch of the people. They have activities in the evening. I mean, it's not going to be like a river cruise. It's not going to be like an ocean cruise. You're not going to have a comedy show at night. But they brought on local entertainers some nights. They had karaoke one night that people were singing karaoke. They had different movie nights for kids. They had a pajama movie night for kids one night. I mean, they thought of all those things to keep you entertained and all different groups to be entertained. And yes, going through the locks, incredible. I mean, you could reach out now the captain told us not to. He absolutely did. He said, do not do that. But I could have reached out and touched the lock. That's how close you are. You have about this much clearance on either side of the boat. It's incredible.
So he's like, keep your hands and feet inside the boat at all
times.
Yes.
Right?
This is Pirates of the Caribbean here, people. This is cool stuff. I will say, I loved kind of following along and seeing what you guys were doing when you post to our agent group and seeing the pictures today on the show. It reminds me of, and this is a compliment for me because I'm a huge fan of the Amazing Race TV show, because I think what it does is, for somebody that's stuck in Missouri and hasn't traveled internationally other than, ocean cruises, is that it kind of gives a sample of local, of course, it's probably not as real as it could be on the Amazing Race, but it gives you a sample of like local cuisine, local traditions, local cultures. And as I'm looking at your pictures, I'm kind of seeing that. And because obviously you're not staying there, but more than, 12 hours, and you're moving on to the next thing, and you're getting a sampling of all these great cultures and all this, pieces of history. So is that kind of what you would explain what this was like to somebody that's kind of not experienced with Adventures by Disney? It's a little bit deeper than that, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, it really is sort of a way to see Europe that sort of brings it to you in a way that's sort of easily understood or appreciated or consumed, if you will. That, there's no way to understand all different aspects of the history and the different cities and areas that you're going to, but they bring you something that is meaningful and worth seeing and worth experiencing. So you feel you have a taste of that. You kind of had a sense of what that's about what that area is about some of the things that they did. And you really need a guide I feel, to do that justice. You just do. I think that they have a way of breaking it down into a story that's relatable, right? And when you go somewhere and you have a friend that lives in the area, like all our friends who get to go to Alani, and George lives in the area, and he always tells you, you know what, you got to go here to do this, and you have to go here to do this. And, he kind of can be your tour guide. That's what it's like. It's like that. It's like having a friend that lives in the area who can tell you the best places to go and explain to you why this area is important or significant.
Okay, for those watching the live video, and of course we are an audio podcast and we get that, but you can go to YouTube and check out the video. What's a quick story with this goat and that big chapter?
So in Muncie, we went to the chapel where in The Sound of Music they got married. It was in that chapel. Well, this town knows where it's at, because at the little store that was located very close to this chapel, they're selling these goats. And for those of you who have seen The Sound of Music, of course you know that the goat is in there. So we had to buy the goat. I was looking at this goat and I said to Steve, "This is ridiculous to buy this goat." And he's like, "Oh, we have to buy the goat."
Right. I mean, why wouldn't you? I mean,
right. So we took the goat's picture in front of the chapel, but it was very cool to get to see that in person too. I am a huge Sound of Music fan. That's from Muncie as well. It's this beautiful lake. It reminded me sort of Lake Tahoe up in the mountains there. And it, there's so much about it that's just stunningly beautiful. I felt like I was waking up to a new beautiful thing to look at every day, and it was so cool.
So did you find that hill and do that twirl or whatever she does in the
Yeah, I did do the twirl for Hannah.
My goodness.
I did.
Love it.
Okay, so we don't have much more time, but here's what I ask our folks that come on our show on Mondays, which I love, because this is basically a trip report on a Friday of something a lot of us will probably never do, but maybe you will, and I hope to do this someday because I'm a history buff, and this is like you're under the Disney umbrella, which is my jam. History, you're cruising, but in a different way, and these are my peeps. We probably eat at 4:00, right? Is that cool? I mean, no,
no, it's actually at 7. It's 7.
Probably later. It's probably gonna kill me. I'm like, I'm starving. Anyway, yeah. So what was the most unexpected thing even for you? Because I think you have a wider background to draw from when it even comes to Adventures by Disney and just the Disney destinations as a whole, obviously, because it's your living. But what was something that surprised you, or that was something that you were not expecting, that you came home like, wow, that was kind of cool?
Okay, so I'll give two. A funny one, which is, first of all, they had an ice cream party on the ship for us one day while we were, cruising down the Danube. And they had all these different toppings, right? And one of them was amaretto. I was like, what? Who never told me that this was a topping for ice cream? Best topping ever, by the way. Just
my goodness.
No. But anyways, awesome. the kids could not have the amaretto.
I would guess that would be no.
So anyways, no, that one's kind of funny. That was unexpected, I would just say.
That is unexpected, for sure.
And it wasn't ice cream, it was gelato, of course. So, I think any trip like this, especially someplace that you've never been and may not return to again, I think one of the things that really makes that memorable, that makes it part of your life, is that it does become part of your story. And the people that you get to experience that with are in that, become a part of that too. So Steve and I did this, this trip together. Steve was with me, and it really helped me, I think, see Steve in a different way, which is weird because we've been together for so long.
No, I understand completely.
But,
I get it.
This forces you out of your comfort zone just a little bit and exposes you to different things. And I think it really makes you appreciate being there with someone. And, I absolutely, and I think that that's something that only travel like this can do. It sort of does open your eyes. I mean, let's be honest. I'm sure the people listening to me out there are like, Budapest is not on my bucket list. And I would have thought that too, until I was there, and it was boom, amazing. Especially at night. And being there with someone that you care about, or getting to experience it with friends and family, and even the folks that you meet on this adventure, it means that you have the story that is unique to y'all, unique to the people that you got to experience that with. And that's an amazing thing, because you learn about them and you learn about yourself. And, there's nothing better than that feeling. So
let me ask you this in closing, because we have a picture up here that has me, more curious than like the cathedrals and all the beautiful, vistas you got to see from the ship. Because again, when I go to Walt Disney World, and especially when I'm on a cruise, I love getting to talk to people from other cultures, other parts of the world, because that's really cool for somebody from Missouri. Like I'm stuck dead in the center of the United States. You don't get to interact with people from other cultures and backgrounds as much as you would have the opportunity at a Disney destination, especially on something like this. But, the video, again, you can check out on our Facebook page or wherever, but it looks like kind of like a town celebration, or like the locals are coming out. So is that something that's common? Because I think that would totally be my jam too, getting to just talk to people from that city.
So they had an Oktoberfest that was just for our ship. We actually just got to walk off of our ship, and they had this tent, and they had beer for us and pretzels and all of that. And they brought in some dancers, local dancers, to dance for us. And you can see there are kids there. And you got to do that, but you absolutely get exposed to so many different kinds of people. You really and truly do. And that's another thing that's just awesome about it. I mean, we had a woman who was explaining to us what it was like to live in Hungary during the Cold War. And it was a really interesting. I mean, how often are you going to have the opportunity to do that? She was one of the guides, and we were on the bus from one thing to another, and she was explaining that to us, what it was like. And she told a great story about how you would go and line up, right? She lived in like Czechoslovakia, and which isn't even there anymore. And you would go and line up, say, for shoes. And when you would get there, you would get two right shoes, and they were just pretty much like, that's what it is. You know what I mean? And she talked about how that brought the community together, because the government didn't provide you with everything. So you really had to learn to rely on the people in your community and realize, what was going to happen. But all of her information was really just so interesting. And the fact that you do have these local guides at each location bring that, again to you. So yeah, it was great. And we're working on some more YouTube videos on the Magic for Less Travel channel. We have one in the stateroom up right now. We have one on the sun deck, which is the top deck. And then we have another one coming that's going to be sort of a walk through the ship that will sort of give you kind of an idea of what it's like to be on these smaller ships. And here's another thing I will tell you. You know how you're on an ocean cruise and like they get cool and comfortable, let me tell you, but they don't get like hotel room cool, right? None of the ocean staterooms get that cold. This stateroom got cold. And I think that's one of the things that helped me sleep so well, besides the fact that I was exhausted because we had been touring all day. But they got really cold. So for those of you who think about that, that's a plus.
That's how we roll here at the BRGS podcast. We like cold.
Nope, that's how you two roll at the BRGS podcast. That's not how this one rolls. Y'all freeze me to death.
That's a good more blankets. Well, man, thanks so much. It really having the pictures, and if you don't get it, just if you get a chance this week, swing by the Facebook page or the YouTube channel and check out the great photos, because they really kind of do tell a story in and of themselves. But amazing trip. I mean, this is one of those things I know, like you were like, oh, it's a big time commitment and it's a big financial commitment. It's just, it's a lot. You don't just hop, skip, and jump down to Walt Disney, over to Europe like you do to Walt Disney World. You had a lot of things to consider, but you came back and you just couldn't stop talking about this. So I think that, that kind of tells the story right there.
It does. I'm always impressed every time I do an Adventures by Disney trip. I mean, I love the Disney theme parks and the destinations here, but I can tell you I've been blown away by Adventures by Disney. So it's up there as one of the best trips ever.
All right. And it ties right in with our great sponsor, the Magic for Less Travel. So if you're thinking about doing a river cruise, or any Adventures by Disney, and maybe you don't know, but you know, you can have an introduction to Adventures by Disney with these short little weekend things here in the States. You can go places like Nashville or Wyoming, or, you know, and be a cowboy for a weekend, or, you know, be a country music star, kind of see all Music Row down in Nashville, stuff like that. You can go in really easily with a shorter one, or you can go all out, you know, like our friends the Griffiths over in Italy right now, or like Pam did a river cruise in Europe. You know, you can go amazing places and get access that you wouldn't normally get, and just have experiences that'll change your life. So just, you know, next time you're thinking about doing a Disney trip, whether it's Walt Disney World, Disneyland, even Disney Cruise Line, like Ricky's setting sail here in a few days. I'm so jealous. You know, work with the Magic for Less. They're experts. They're passionate about the product, and they have a team of agents. That's a great thing, is that there's a huge team of agents with backgrounds that are so varied. So, you know, if there's a question about something, one of those agents has been there and done that, and they work as a team, and they're going to help you have the most magical trip ever. So check them out today over at themagicforless.com. And don't forget, we got a great Amazon affiliate link, and it really does help support the show. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Amazon. Thanks so much to everybody who continues to use that link. Give us a follow on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Be Our Guest Mike. We've got a great Facebook page at facebook.com/Be Our Guest Podcast, and the YouTube channel where this video will be residing. Check it out at youtube.com/Be Our Guest Podcast. All right, time to get out of here for the weekend. I know we're all wishing we were heading to Europe, but yeah, I'm probably just heading to, we have a football game to go to this weekend, so I'm not heading anywhere. I'm just listening to podcasts and running and having fun with my family, but that's not too bad either. So whatever you're doing this weekend, have fun out there. So for Ricky and Pam, I'm Mike saying stay safe and have a great weekend, and we'll see you real soon. That was a good one, Pam. Good stuff.
I hope I was able to communicate my passion about this, because
you were.
I mean, it is one of those trips that I will always just think about so fondly. So
that was awesome. And the pictures really helped. I'm glad we got to get those out there.
It is interesting, and I'll be putting more up too. So I'll put some up on Friday too.
Good. All right. Well, you guys have fun.
Awesome. All right.
Facebook, thanks for keeping us company. Facebook. Hope you enjoyed it with the pictures.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Ricky,
guys.
I shared my picture folder.
I got it.
I just
Thank
picked
you.
one to put in there, but pick what you want.
That works.
Awesome.
Catch y'all later.
See y'all.
All right.